Hi everyone, and welcome to episode number 48 of the Karen Knits podcast. My name is Karen and I'm coming to you from South Central Pennsylvania, where I live, where I work, where I knit and crochet and get into all kinds of other crafty shenanigans. Today is Saturday, January 16th, 2021, and it's a gorgeous day out today. A little bit on the cool side. This morning it was a bit frosty. There was frost on the cars this morning, and it's probably only in the mid 30s Fahrenheit right now, mid-afternoon. It's overcast now. It was sunny this morning, but the clouds have rolled in. We had rain a couple days ago. At least it was only rain. It didn't turn into freezing rain or ice, thankfully. But it's a nice winter day here, and perfect for knitting, perfect for crafting, just right. So if you're a new viewer here, thank you so much for checking out my podcast. If you're a returning viewer, thank you so much for coming back for another week to see what I've been up to since I last talked to you. And otherwise, let's get the show on the road here. So I've spent most of my week working on my 3 whips. I didn't get quite as much done this week as I did last week, because this week we're starting to get back into the swing of things for the school year and the academic year to get started at university. So I had a couple days with conference things going on. So I was able to do a little bit of knitting during that, but I also did have to keep notes quite a bit. So I couldn't do quite as much knitting during those meetings as I had kind of hoped I would. And other time during the week, I've been quite busy making sure I've got everything all ready and set to go for classes to begin on Tuesday. So we're getting back into the swing of work here. Break is pretty much over, except for the last 2 days, the last weekend before we get started. I'm just drinking plain old, it's actually got cold now, so I guess it's just iced tea now, but it's just plain old regular black tea. Nothing fancy today, just plain old regular tea. So my whips that I have on the go, first one I want to talk about is I guess I could call it a finished object, although I don't want to label any of these as a finished object until I've done the entire set. But this is part of the Mitten Garland Advent Calendar. So a group of online friends and myself have decided to do a little knit along with each other, and we plan on having this spread out over the entire year. And what we're doing is we are making the Mitten Garland Advent Calendar. So there's 24 miniature mittens, just single mittens for each day of Advent. It's a pattern by Kathy Lewinsky. And what we have planned to do with this little knit along that we're doing is we're doing 5 rows each day. And so each mitten will take us 2 weeks. We're not in a huge hurry. We just want to work on this over the entire year. So we're not rushing through this. We're taking our time, no major pressure on this. So we cast on the 1st of January, and the first mitten in the set is done. Isn't he cute? It's just such a really cute little mitten. Actually not that little. This is where it sits on my hand. And I do have big man hands. So it's about 6 inches from top to bottom. So here's the one side. And the other side is the same, other than the number on this one. It has a cute little hangy tag, The pattern calls for doing an I-cord. I decided I just held the yarn double and did a quick 15 stitch crochet chain. I think I used a 3 millimeter crochet hook. I have it written down on my pattern page or on my Ravelry project page. So that's the first little mitten. I finished this on the 14th, so I finished it on Friday. Finished up the little tag. All the ends are all tucked in. I'm using, for this project, I'm using Knit Pick palette yarn, and I'm just using scraps that I have at home. I'm not buying new yarn for this, I just want to use leftovers. So this was in a red and white with a little bit of a little trim in this light yellow. So I used 2.25 millimeter needles, or US size 1, and Knit Pick's palette yarn. And again, just random colors. I think this red is called Pimento. The other ones a lot of them I don't still have the ball band for them. So a lot of them I don't know the exact color name. The one I'll show you in just a couple minutes is an example of that, where I don't have the ball band. I don't know the names of the colors. I don't know the name of this yellow. I'm assuming that's just white, but I do know the red is Pimento because I still have the tag on that one. So mitten number 2, we started on, I finished that on the 13th and cast this on, I finished on the 14th and started mitten number 2. I started that one on Friday. So every second Friday we'll start a new one. The tails haven't been tucked in, that's fine. So here's what we have so far. I've done 10 rows. So 10 rows on that. I've done 2 days, and I don't know the color of this kind of browny beige color. That's the same yellow that I used in the first one and the same red that I used in the first one. So I've made a little bit of progress on this one, just the 2 days, so 10 rounds. So mitten garland advent calendar mitten number 2. So by next week I will have several more rows done, and I'll be well on the way through finishing the first part of this. So again, it'll be 2 weeks. So 2 weeks from now, you will see mitten number 2 will be complete, and I will have this much done on mitten number 3. So that's my progress there. Oops, the yarn fell on the floor. Project number 2 is my granny stripe blanket, and this is a pattern by Lucy of Attic 24, and I started this one right after I finished my mitered square scrap wrap. So I'm continuing to use scrap yarn, sock scrap yarns, and I'm just using up whatever I have. Some of the balls I had were teeny tiny, some of them are quite a bit bigger, but I'm just using random sock scrap yarns or fingering weight scraps. I'm using a 4.5 millimeter crochet hook, and that is midway between a G and H in US sizing. And again, I'm using random sock scraps. So I'm made a good amount of progress on this. The purple marker is where I left off last week. So I've added all of this. So it's about double the size it was when you last saw it. So here's the whole thing. It's folded, it's at least 4 times, 4 times as wide as I'm showing. So I just have it folded up so it can be seen a little bit better. So there's the progress since last week up to from the purple onwards, and then from the purple down is what I had done before. So it's getting quite long. It's probably, if I have it right level on the floor, it probably almost comes up to hip length already. So I'm probably going to do it double the length, almost double the length it is now. I'd like to have it about the right size to put on a bed, a single bed, but that's not where it's going to live. I will be using this as something to snuggle under when I'm watching TV in the wintertime. So there we have my scrap wrap, or no, not scrap wrap, my granny stripes. And again, as I said, it's coming along really nicely. I'm tangled up in the yarn, but it's coming along really nicely. I'm making really good progress on it. I've worked on it probably every day since I began it. I work on it every evening while we're watching TV. It's a really nice project for me, it's a really nice, easy project to work on while I'm watching TV. I tend to work on the Advent mittens. I work on those first thing in the morning while I'm sipping a cup of tea and scrolling through different social media. So I'll get those 5 rows done first thing in the morning. Then I spend my free time during the day, any breaks I'm taking during work, time off and on just during the regular part of the day. I work on my Demyakalopa sweater. And then once supper's done, the hubby and I head into the living room to watch a movie for the evening. I usually get 2 or 3 hours of crocheting in every evening. So at this rate, I'm expecting that I might even have this granny stripe blanket done. I'm kind of hoping it's done by the end of January. And I am really hoping for that. So we shall see. That's what my plan is. I really am hoping to get that done. Yeah, I really am hoping to get it done by the end of January. If not, it'll be done midway through February, because it's moving through really relatively quickly. As I said, for me, crochet goes quite quickly. So that's my granny stripes. My third and final work in progress is my Demyakalopa sweater or cardigan. And this is a pattern by Pinagiri. I'm using Holst Super Soft yarn for this in 6 different colors. I'm using silver gray, which will be the main body color. I'm using cobalts, which will be the fleas on the flea cardigan, and the little colorwork spots that you'll see throughout the body of the sweater. And then I'm also using indigo, robin's egg, breeze, and pineapple are the other 4 main colors in the yoke portion. And I haven't got as much done on this as I would have liked to in the past week, but I found that I had trouble concentrating on keeping track of the colorwork portion while I was doing conference stuff. I had hoped to get a lot more done during conference time I had this past week, but it just didn't work out that way. So here's where I am now. The red marker is where I left off last week. So I've added, not a lot, I've added another 1.5 inches maybe. So it's not been a huge lot of progress, but the number of stitches per round is increasing. So I'm making the largest size of this because I'm a dainty little girl. So I'm making the 2X size. So the number of stitches on the needles is I think it's over 300 now. I can't remember exactly. I'm at the point now where I'm ready to do the 4th and final set of increases on this round, and then it'll have the width across. It'll be as large as it's going to get going around. And then once I've got those last, I think I'm on row 32 out of 40. on the color work portion of the yoke. And once I've completed the color work portion on the yoke, then you knit for a certain distance, just doing the flea pattern, and continue till you have the length you want before you're ready to split for the arms and the body. So I'm kind of looking forward to when I get to that point, because then the number of stitches I'll have each round will come down a little bit for me. So I'm excited to get to that part, because that'll be once it starts to get a little bit more mindless and I can just be knitting around in circles. And I think the color work is every third or fourth round. So you have 2 or 3 rounds of just straight stockinette in one color, and then you'll have one round that will have the fleas on it. And then you'll have another 2 or 3 rounds of plain stockinette in the main color, and then the flea section. So I'm hoping to, by next week when I show it to you, I'm hoping to be well into the flea section. But we shall see, because classes are starting next week. I'm back into more of a work schedule, even though I'm continuing to work remotely and from home. I do have my days scheduled out so that I'm not just kind of blowing off work and only knitting. I'm going to have scheduling out my time each day so that I'm sure that I spend adequate time on work stuff and set aside a little bit of break time and fun stuff or non-work stuff. So those are my 3 works in progress, whichever the phrase is, whatever way I want to word it. So once I'm done with my scrap wrap, I might pick up another new work in progress. But what I am really leaning towards starting I'm itching to start in the next couple days, is I'm starting to get the bug to start doing new designs again. I haven't created a new design it's been a while. It's probably been a year or 2 since I've sat down and designed something new. So I've been mulling this over for the last few days, and I'm really thinking what I would love to do is I would love to sit down and design a pair of socks for each month of the year in 2021. I probably should have started this before the 16th of the month, because I'm kind of giving myself January. I'm really narrowing down my January time. But what I'm hoping is that I can crank out a new sock design each day, or each day, I wish, each month of the year throughout 2021. I have done little swatches of, I think, about 8 different designs already, and I have some other ones in mind. They are all going to be designs that the vast majority of them will be designs that can be unisex, so they'd be suitable for men or women, depending on the size you knit them in. So there's that advantage that they will be something that'll work well for, I think all of them will work well as masculine socks, or not highly feminine appearing socks. So they'll be perfect if you want to work on projects and make something for some of the men in your life, or for yourself, or women in your life that like wearing more of a unisex sock design. So keep that on your radar. I think I have to go digging through. I bought a new computer this summer, and all my plans and ideas initial sketches are on my old laptop. So I need to fire up the old laptop, transfer some files from there over onto the new computer so that I'm ready to go. But I'm thinking that I'm going to get started on the first pair of socks, the January socks. I think I'm going to get started on those very soon, like maybe tonight or tomorrow. We shall see. But next week I'll probably show you little spoilers of what they're looking like along the way to kind of get you interested in them, hopefully. But I think it's about time that I start kicking my design plans back into gear again. Because like I say, it's been a while since I've created a new design. I am planning on listing it for sale. When they're done, I'll plan on listing them for sale on both Ravelry and Etsy. Maybe some other online selling venues. But for now, they'll be on Ravelry and Etsy. My existing patterns, I plan on moving them over to some of them. I will also have them listed on Etsy. Right now, I think all the listings that I had on there have expired, so I have to get that back up and running again. So I will put the links to my Etsy shop and my Ravelry pattern store. I'll leave those links down below in the description. But keep an eye out for that and wait and see, check out and see what I have coming along for different sock patterns. And otherwise, I think this is going to be a little bit of a shorter episode today. I've worked on my 3 whips off and on all week, and the designing I'm going to start adding in one more. Then I'll have to slow down on new whips because some things are going to start getting neglected if I start adding more and more. I've been able to keep up doing something on each of the 3 patterns or each of the 3 projects every day in the past week. I'll see how that works if I try adding a 4th one. We shall see. But anyways, stay tuned and see what comes about with the new designing. And I think that's about it. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for supporting my channel. If you enjoyed this, if you have not yet already, I would absolutely love it if you would subscribe to my channel and click the little notification bell down in one of these corners. Hit the little notification bell and it'll let you know when I post a new video. Alrighty, so that sums it up. I thank you so much for taking the time to watch my video today. Take care, everyone, and I will see you again next week. Bye now.